If your business stores hazardous chemicals, you may be required by federal law to file what's called a Tier 2 report. Today, I'm going to walk you through what a Tier 2 report is, how to know if you need to file one, and exactly how to submit yours here in Weber County. This might sound complicated, but I promise, once you understand the basics, it's a straightforward process. Let's get into it. A Tier 2 report is a hazardous chemical inventory form required under Section 312 of the Emergency Planning and Community Right to Know Act, also known as EPCRA. This federal law was passed in 1986 after a devastating chemical disaster in Bhopal, India, and it's designed to make sure that communities and emergency responders know what chemicals are being stored in their area. The report gives first responders, like your local fire department, critical information about the types, quantities, and locations of hazardous chemicals at your facility. If there's ever a fire, spill, or other emergency, information like this can save lives, including the lives of your employees and the firefighters responding to help. Here's how to know if your business needs to file. You are required to submit a Tier 2 report if your facility stores any of the following: extremely hazardous substances, or EHS chemicals, at or above 500 pounds, or the chemical's threshold planning quantity, whichever is lower. Any hazardous chemical that requires a safety data sheet under OSHA's Hazard Communication Standard if you store 10,000 pounds or more at any time during the calendar year. Now, that 10,000-pound threshold catches more businesses than you might think. If you operate a warehouse, a manufacturing facility, an auto shop, a farm supply store, a pool supply company, or even a business with a large propane tank, you may need to file. A good rule of thumb: if your business has safety data sheets, sometimes called SDS sheets, on file for any chemicals, take a look at the quantities you're storing. If you're at or above those thresholds for even one day during the year, you need to report. There are a couple of notable exceptions. Retail gas stations have a higher threshold: 75,000 gallons for gasoline and 100,000 gallons for diesel. As long as all fuel is stored underground and in full compliance with underground storage tank regulations. Your Tier 2 report is due every year by March 1st. You're reporting on chemicals that were present at your facility at any point during the previous calendar year. So, for example, the report due March 1st, 2026 covers chemicals stored during calendar year 2025. Under federal law, you must submit your Tier 2 report to three separate entities. One, the State Emergency Response Commission, known as the CERC, which in Utah is managed by the Utah Department of Environmental Quality. Two, your local Emergency Planning Committee, or LEPC. Here in Weber County, that's the Weber County LEPC. Three, your local fire department, the fire department that has jurisdiction over your facility's location. Each of these submissions serves a different purpose. The state uses it for statewide planning and compliance. The LEPC uses it for local emergency planning and community right to know. And the fire department uses it so that when they respond to your facility, they know exactly what hazards they're walking into. Before you sit down to complete your report, gather the following information: your facility's Utah Tier 2 ID number. This is a unique number in the format UT followed by 6 digits. For example, UT001234. This ID is tied to your facility's physical address and stays the same even if ownership or business names change. If you don't have one, you'll request one through the Utah DEQ portal. Safety data sheets for every hazardous chemical stored at your facility. These tell you the chemical names, CAS numbers, hazard classifications, and physical properties you'll need to enter. Chemical inventory data including the maximum amount of each chemical stored at any point during the year, the average daily amount, and the number of days it was on site. Storage location details, where each chemical is kept on your property, the type of container, and storage conditions such as temperature and pressure. Facility information, including your full street address, latitude and longitude coordinates, NAICS code, and Dun and Bradstreet number if you have one. Emergency and non-emergency contact information, the names, titles, phone numbers, and 24-hour contact numbers for people who should be reached in case of an incident at your facility. The EPA provides free software called Tier 2 Submit that you'll use to complete your report. Utah requires you to use this software. Go to the EPA's website at epa.gov EPCRA Tier 2 Submit software and download the latest version. A new version is released every year, usually around November, and you must use the current year's version. The software is available for both Windows and Mac. If you filed a report in a previous year, great news. You can import your old file in either .t2s or .zip format into the new software. This will carry over your facility information so you don't have to re-enter everything from scratch. Just update the chemical quantities and any other changes for the current year. Once you have the software open, start by entering your facility details. This includes your facility name, address, latitude and longitude, your Utah Tier 2 ID number, NAICS code, and whether the facility is manned or unmanned. If this is your first time filing and you don't have a Utah Tier 2 ID number yet, go to the Utah DEQ Tier 2 submission portal at tier2.deq.utah.gov. You can use the new facility request option to get an ID assigned to your facility. Keep in mind, this can take some time, so don't wait until the last minute. Next, add your emergency and non-emergency contacts. You'll need at least one contact for each category and include a 24-hour phone number for emergencies. This is the person firefighters or hazmat responders may want to speak with if something happens at your facility at 2 a.m. on a Saturday. This is the core of the report. For each reportable chemical at your facility, you'll enter the chemical name and CAS registry number as shown on the safety data sheet, the physical and health hazards associated with the chemical. The Tier 2 Submit software uses the same hazard categories as OSHA's Hazard Communication Standard, so you can pull this directly from your SDS. The maximum amount stored at any one time during the year, the average daily amount on site, the number of days the chemical was present at the facility, a brief description of storage locations, container types, and storage conditions. A few tips here. Don't forget to account for all forms of a chemical. For example, if you have sulfuric acid stored in a drum and also in lead-acid batteries, you may need to aggregate those quantities. Also, remember that you're reporting for any chemical that was on site for more than 24 hours at any point during the calendar year, even if it's not there today. When you've entered all your data, use the built-in validation tool in the Tier 2 Submit software. Look for the green validation checkmark. The software will flag any errors or missing fields. Fix anything that comes up before moving on. Once your report validates, export it as a .t2s file. Save this file somewhere safe and accessible. You'll use it for all three of your submissions, and you'll want it next year as your starting point. Your first submission goes to the state. Go to the Utah DEQ Tier 2 submission portal at tier2.deq.utah.gov. Create an account if you don't already have one. Navigate to the submission page and upload your .t2s file. The portal will walk you through verifying your facility location on a map, confirming your emergency contacts, and reviewing your chemical list. If anything needs to be corrected, make the changes in the Tier 2 Submit software first, re-export the .t2s file, and re-upload. The portal allows you to resubmit as many times as needed. The most recent submission becomes your active report. When your submission is complete, click Send me a receipt and save that confirmation for your records. Your second submission goes to the Weber County LEPC. In Weber County, Tier 2 reports are only accepted by email in PDF format. The contacts for LEPC Tier 2 submission in Weber County are listed on this webpage. If you have questions about submitting to the LEPC, you can call the Weber County Office of Emergency Management. Your third and final submission goes to the fire department that has jurisdiction over your facility. This is not one centralized department for all of Weber County. It depends on where your business is physically located. For example, if your business is in Ogden, submit to the Ogden City Fire Department. If you're in Roy, submit to Roy City Fire. If you're in an unincorporated area, send your submission to the Weber Fire District. If you're not sure which fire department covers your location, contact us at Weber County Emergency Management and we'll help you figure it out. Contact your local fire department directly to find out how they prefer to receive the report. Some accept email, others may have their own process. Failing to file your Tier 2 report or filing late can result in serious consequences. Under federal and state law, you could face monetary penalties that vary based on the severity of the violation and your compliance history. You could receive corrective action orders requiring you to take specific steps to come into compliance. And in cases of intentional or willful violations, criminal penalties can occur. If there's an emergency at your facility and first responders don't know what chemicals are inside, the consequences could be far worse than any fine. This report can help protect your employees, your neighbors, and the men and women responding to help. Here are a few tips to make this process easier. Start early. Don't wait until the last week of February. Give yourself time to gather your data and work through the software. Save your .t2s file every year. Store it somewhere safe and backed up. It will save you hours of data entry next year because you can import it into the updated software. Keep your safety data sheets current and organized. This is an OSHA requirement anyway, but it makes Tier 2 reporting much simpler. If you've never filed before, request your Utah Tier 2 ID number well in advance. New facility requests can take time to process. If you need to make corrections after you've already submitted, you can resubmit through the DEQ portal at any time. Just update your file in the Tier 2 Submit software, re-export, and re-upload. Mark your calendar. Set a reminder for early January each year to begin your Tier 2 reporting process. Filing a Tier 2 report is an important step towards preparing your business, your employees, and your community for an emergency. If you need help, we're here for you. Contact Weber County Emergency Management with any questions about filing a Tier 2 report, or you can contact the EPA Risk Management Program Reporting Center. The Weber County LEPC meets the first Wednesday of every month. These monthly meetings are an opportunity for Tier 2 businesses throughout the county to network and receive important training on the use and storage of hazardous chemicals. We encourage you to get involved. Thank you for taking the time to learn about Tier 2 reporting. Your compliance keeps Weber County safe.